everybody, and welcome to another installment of Mego Museum's Vintage Mego. This week's segment will focus on one of my favorite playsets of all time, let alone Mego Playsets, and that is the Planet of the Apes Forbidden Zone Trap from 1975. This is, of course, coming off of Christmas 1974, when the Mego Planet of the Apes Treehouse playset, which was a repurposed Action Jackson set, was one of the top 10 toys of 1974's Christmas. So it's not surprising that Mego thought, we have to make more Apes playsets. And they weren't scrambling this time to bring something to the market. The first two Planet of the Apes playsets, like I said, were both from the Action Jackson line. So for Toy Fair 1975, Mego had two new playsets, both sort of based on the television series, and both original creations. They weren't repurposed from anywhere, and were never used again because they were so unique. Both sets have a little tie-in to the television series, just little nods, especially the Fortress, which has the sun reflector, which was used in several episodes of the show. In the case of the Forbidden Zone Trap, many of the episodes were set in a devastated, post-apocalyptic city, so this makes perfect sense as a toy concept, even though it seems weird now. It's described in the 1975 catalog as, "The Forbidden Zone is a play case setting of a ruined city. Here your apes wait to trap the astronauts. Lots of play value as you create new stories over and over again. Using the trapdoor on the jail cell, with the touch of a button, zap! You've caught an astronaut. If you're the astronaut, try to escape." Many of the Mego Planet of the Apes items were kind of centered around this idea of a game of cat and mouse between the apes and the astronauts. I think that perfectly encapsulates what children were doing, so this is mimicking their play pattern. That's absolutely what I did as a kid. I chased around my Action Jackson with my General Urko. The set itself is a plastic frame with a heavy cardboard surrounds. This was proudly made in the USA, by the way. The setting itself is a post-apocalyptic building called Judson's Garage, and it is decorated with a ton of graffiti. Knowing Mego, a lot of these little graffiti names are Easter eggs. The only one I know for sure is this AH plus NK. It's probably a reference to Howard Abrams, Marty's brother, and also heavily involved in Mego at the time, and Neil Kublin, former VP of R&D for Mego Corporation. The concept is fairly simple. It's an abandoned building that the apes are hiding in, hoping to lure in some astronauts who would be attracted to this garage. I guess they need car repair. Inside is a net that has a spring action that you can actually just lure up the figures. It works really well. It's a good concept. Then there's a jail cell where you can obviously capture your fugitive astronauts and let them go if you like. Mine is missing the little bar that holds the jail cell. I know I have this piece, but I moved a couple of years ago, and this kind of got lost in the shuffle somewhere. I know it's around, I just can't seem to locate it. This is the pain of a collector moving. It's a bit of a nightmare. No matter how thorough and conscientious you are, things are going to go missing. The playset sold for about $13, which was kind of pricey at the time. And in the 1975 Mego catalog, it is listed in two formats, the basic set, which is what I own, and a gift set that includes General Urko, General Ursus, Galen, and an astronaut. Does that exist? I've been asked that over the years, and, well, my answer would have to be maybe. Maybe it does. I've learned in dealing with Mego that even though I haven't seen it, doesn't mean that it didn't come out in some kind of limited format. We've all seen the famous Planet of the Apes Treehouse set with the four figures. There's also been a sighting of the Stallion with a free General Urko figure offer on the box. So, I hope it exists. None have ever surfaced, but maybe someday they will. My passion for this piece stems back to the early 1980s. I was still an ape-obsessed kid then, and I used to actually buy some of the merchandise I found in variety stores and discount shops. In this one, I remember the Forbidden Zone Trap was on the clearance aisle of a store I used to go to called Pinocchio's Toys, and I saw it and I fell in love with it. The only reason I didn't buy it was I didn't have any of the figures anymore. I think I might have had one General Urko left. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I knew I couldn't track down the astronauts, or where do you go to buy old toys when you're a kid? So I kind of let it go, but it stuck there like an anchor. So when I started collecting, I think around 1987 I bought this. This is the exact set I've had, and I've sold my collection one or two times, but I have never parted with this. This has been in every apartment, every house I've rented, every place I've been since 1987. In fact, at one time, it was part of my dining room. You know, this set has stuck with me for over 30 years, so it actually feels more like an old friend than it does a collectible. My daughter had a lot of fun playing with this. I used to let her play with it because it allured her so much. This piece is nothing but happy memories for me, and I will be actually willing this to my daughter because she always wanted to play with this, and I only let her play with it like every other time, so it became kind of a special treat to play with the Planet of the Apes Forbidden Zone. I honestly think she'd still want to play with it if I let her now. So there you go. That is my favorite Planet of the Apes playset by Mego. What's yours? Do you have a special memory attached to it? Did you get it for Christmas? Ever let your kids play with your stuff? Let me know in the comments below. Hit me up on Twitter at Mego Museum. And we have a thriving Facebook group for vintage and reproduction Megos called Mego Mania. Hope you'll join. That's it for Vintage Mego this week. Thanks for watching. And of course, beware the beast man.